Those strawberries you just bought from Harris Farm sitting in your fridge right now, you probably paid 60% more than the exact same berries at Coles. Every week, thousands of Australian families walk into Harris Farm markets trusting that premium prices mean premium quality, that farm fresh means locally sourced, that they're supporting Australian farmers by shopping there instead of the big supermarkets. But behind those rustic wooden crates and farm-style signage, there's a sourcing reality Harris Farm desperately doesn't want you to discover. Imported fruit from the same Sydney market suppliers as Coles and Woolworths, sold at massive markups, premium Californian berries costing double what you pay at Coles for identical imported fruit. Chilean stone fruits in wooden crates marketed as farm fresh. Country of origin hidden behind beautiful displays while families overspend $2,000 to $4,000 a year for the exact same wholesale fruit. I've spent weeks comparing Harris Farm's fruit sourcing to major supermarkets, tracking country of origin labels, and analysing pricing across dozens of produce items. Today we're exposing where Harris Farm's premium fruit really comes from. The farm fresh image is marketing. The reality is imported fruit at premium prices. This is the premium grocer deception they're hoping you never discover. Let's start with strawberries. Harris Farm positions them as premium farm fresh berries, wooden crates, chalkboard signs, farm style displays. You're paying $6 to $8 for a 250 gram punnet. Premium price, premium quality, right? But check the fine print on that country of origin label. Those premium strawberries, a significant portion of the year they're imported from California and Mexico. Translation, the exact same berries Coles and Woolworths stock from the same importers. Australian strawberry season runs June through October in Queensland, then November through April down south. But Harris Farm's website states berries are available all year round. Translation, when Australian strawberries aren't in season, you're buying Californian or Mexican imports. The wooden crates don't change. The farm signage doesn't change. The country of origin does. But that label is tiny, positioned where you're not looking. The visual language screams local Australian farm. The reality whispers imported from California. At Harris Farm, those imported Californian strawberries cost $6 to $8 per 250 gram punnet. That's $24 to $32 per kilo. At Coles, the exact same Californian strawberries cost $3 per 250 gram punnet. Translation, $12 per kilo. You're paying double. $12 extra per kilo for identical imported fruit. Imported wholesale strawberries marked up 100% because they're in a wooden crate. And here's something genuinely disturbing. Customer reviews on Product Review Report, Harris Farm strawberries going moldy within 2 to 3 days despite costing double. One customer wrote throughout almost all of them. Another complaint from December 2025, I didn't order again. Such a disappointment. Not one vegetable I ordered was fresh. When Choice tested strawberry freshness in September 2025, Coles came out on top with 100% no decay rate on day one. Harris Farm wasn't even included in independent testing. Harris Farm's entire store design creates the illusion of farm direct sourcing. Rustic wooden crates, chalkboard signage, farm-style displays, staff wearing aprons like artisan vendors. The country of origin label is legally there but tiny, easy to miss, positioned where you're focused on the price display. The visual language is straight from Australian farms. The reality is straight from Sydney markets wholesale, same as Coles. You're paying $24 to $32 per kilo for Californian strawberries you could get at Coles for $12 per kilo. The premium is pure marketing theatre. The fruit is identical. Now let's talk about stone fruits. Peaches, nectarines, plums, cherries. Harris Farm sells these year-round with the same farm fresh aesthetic, same wooden crates, same premium pricing. The implication is clear: quality Australian stone fruit from local growers. But here's where Harris Farm's seasonal story completely falls apart. Australian stone fruit season runs November through February. Summer only 4 months. But Harris Farm stocks stone fruits year round. So where do those winter peaches come from? Chile. Translation, from June through September, every stone fruit at Harris Farm is imported from Chilean orchards. The same Chilean suppliers that export to Coles and Woolworths. Chile exported $54.4 million of peaches and $52 million of plums globally in 2023 to 2024. Harris Farm buys from Sydney Markets Wholesale. Coles buys from Sydney Markets Wholesale. Same importers, same Chilean orchards, same fruit. Chilean nectarines at Harris Farm in winter, displayed in wooden crates with farm fresh signage, you're paying $5 to $8 per kilo. At Coles, Chilean nectarines during the same winter months disclosed as imported, $3 to $4 per kilo. You're paying 60 to 100% more for identical Chilean fruit. The difference? Harris Farm obscures the origin with farm aesthetic. Coles puts product to Chile where you can see it. Customer complaints on product review paint a damning picture. December 2025. The plums were far too overripe, bruised, and a waste of money. This has never happened before, as fresh produce is always excellent. Very disappointed. Another recent complaint, veggies are not fresh unless you get them being put into cabinets. Quality in-store is down. When you're paying 60% more, you expect dramatically better quality. You're not getting it. You're getting overripe imported fruit at premium prices. June rolls around, Australian stone fruit season ends, Chilean imports arrive at Sydney markets. Harris Farms displays don't change. Same wooden crates, same chalkboard signs saying fresh stone fruit. No prominent signage saying imported from Chile. The country of origin label is there, fine print, legally compliant, but the farm fresh visual language stays the same. You're meant to assume it's still Australian. It's not. Winter stone fruits at Harris Farm are Chilean imports at premium prices with farm fresh marketing. Same Chilean orchard supplying Coles at half the price. You're paying for theatre. Wooden crates that cost Harris Farm almost nothing but let them charge double. Apples. Australia is a major apple producer. Tasmania alone grows 55,000 tonnes per year, 20% of Australian production. When you see apples in those farm-style displays at Harris Farm, you're assuming Australian apples, right? Supporting local growers. That's the entire Harris Farm promise. But let me tell you when those apples are actually Australian versus imported. Australian apple harvest runs February through May, autumn. But apples are sold year round. So June through January, 10 months of the year, where do Harris Farms apples come from? New Zealand and Washington State, USA. Translation, the majority of the year, you're buying imported apples. New Zealand supplies during our off-season. Washington State exports globally. These apples arrive at Sydney markets. Harris Farm buys from Sydney markets. Coles buys from Sydney markets. Same wholesale source, same imported apples. Here's what Harris Farm doesn't advertise. Their headquarters is literally at Sydney markets. Warehouse W, Sydney markets, Flemington, the same wholesale market where Coles and Woolworths send their buyers every morning. They're all purchasing from the same importers, the same Australian growers, the same wholesale suppliers. The only difference is what happens after the fruit leaves Sydney markets. Coles puts it in plastic crates with clear pricing. Harris Farm puts it in wooden crates with premium pricing. At Harris Farm, premium apple varieties like Pink Lady, you're paying $4 to $6 per kilo. At Coles, Pink Lady apples during the same period, $3 to $4 per kilo, you're paying 30 to 50% more for apples sourced from the same wholesale market. Why the premium? The wooden crates, the farm signage, the rustic aesthetic suggesting these apples came directly from an Australian orchard. They didn't, they came from Sydney markets just like everyone else's apples. Customer reviews tell the real story. Product review complaints, quality in-store is down and choices have diminished. Over the top on prices again and again, sorry to say, but over the top on prices, we keep trying to go back. It's too expensive and the veggies are not fresh. When you're paying 50% more, you expect noticeably better quality. independent testing doesn't show Harris Farm produce is fresher than Coles. Harris Farm built their reputation on supporting Australian farmers. The Imperfect Picks program, saving 40 million kilos of Australian produce from landfill, reinforces this image, removing artificial colours from all products. Family-owned heritage since 1971 creates this narrative of values-driven business supporting local agriculture. But that doesn't mean every apple on their shelves is Australian. The branding creates an assumption. You assume the fruit is Australian by association. June through January, it's imported. You're paying $4 to $6 per kilo for New Zealand or American apples. You could get at Coles for $3 to $4 per kilo. The premium is brand positioning. The sourcing is identical wholesale. Let's finish with blueberries and raspberries. Harris Farm's website states, berries are available all year round. Convenient, right? But then the website admits something revealing. Berries become very expensive at certain times of the year as growing seasons move. Translation, year-round availability means year-round imports at premium prices. Australian berry seasons are regional. Queensland and Western Australia grow berries May through September. Then production moves to temperate southern states. But to stock berries every week, imports are essential. Coles' seasonal chart confirms blueberries are a combination of Australian grown and imported from December to May. Where do those imports come from? California, Mexico, Peru. Harris Farm's website states berries are grown across very diverse areas of Australia. True. But it doesn't mention the Californian, Mexican and Peruvian berries filling the gaps. Same importers supplying Coles, Woolworths and Harris Farm through Sydney markets. During import season, Harris Farm's premium positioning means you're paying significantly more for the same imported berries. Blueberries at Harris Farm, estimated $6 to $9 for a 125 gram punnet. Translation, $48 to $72 per kilo. At Coles, blueberries during the same period, $4 to $6 for 125 grams, $32 to $48 per kilo. You're paying 50% more for identical imported blueberries. Peruvian blueberries in Harris Farm wooden crates cost 50% more than Peruvian blueberries in Coles plastic containers. When Choice tested berry freshness in September 2025, Coles performed best for strawberries with 100% no decay rate. Harris Farm wasn't included in the testing. Why not? They're positioned as the premium fresh produce specialist. They win Finder Awards for most loved supermarket, top-rated supermarket produce, but independent consumer testing doesn't include them. Meanwhile, customer complaints paint a different picture. Organic mushrooms full of mold. If premium produce is going moldy, what exactly is the premium for? And here's something Harris Farm definitely doesn't want you to know. In October 2025, they sparked nationwide controversy over their pricing tactics. A health coach filmed herself at Harris Farm questioning why cherry tomatoes were advertised as 2 for $5 when individual punnets cost $2.50 each. The video went viral. Consumer psychologist Jana called it a perceptual trick. This happened while Coles and Woolworths were facing federal court action by the ACCC for deceptive pricing practices. Harris Farm defended their approach, but the pattern is clear. Premium branding, confusing pricing, maximum profit extraction. Harris Farm markets year-round availability as a benefit, berries available all year round, but they bury the import reality. The website admits pricing increases as growing seasons move. That's code for when we're importing. But in store, there's no prominent signage saying imported from Peru or product to California. Just wooden crates and farm fresh displays creating the illusion everything's Australian. Year-round berries at Harris Farm means year-round imports at premium prices. Same Californian, Mexican, Peruvian suppliers as Coles and Woolworths. 50% markup for wooden crates and brand positioning. You're not paying for better sourcing. You're paying for better interior design. Harris Farm built a $788 million business on premium positioning. They've perfected aspirational grocery shopping, the farm fresh aesthetic, wooden crates, chalkboard signs, rustic displays, staff in aprons. It costs them basically nothing, but it lets them charge 40 to 80% more for the exact same imported fruit Coles stocks from Sydney markets. Same wholesale suppliers, same imported berries, same Chilean stone fruits, same New Zealand apples, different price tags. Want actual farm fresh Australian fruit? Go to a real farmers market where you can talk to actual farmers who grew the fruit. Farm gate sales where you're buying directly from the orchard. Harris Farm Markets is a premium retail chain with 788 million in annual revenue and not a farm collective. It's a supermarket with better branding. If you shop at Harris Farm weekly for produce, you're likely overspending $40 to $80 per week compared to Coles or Woolworths for identical wholesale sourced fruit. That's $2,080 to $4,160 per year for the same fruit from the same importers, from the same Sydney markets wholesale source. Check country of origin labels everywhere you shop. Buy Australian when it's in season. February through May for apples, November through February for stone fruits, June through October for Queensland strawberries. If you want to support local farmers, buy from actual farmers markets or farm gate sales where you can see the orchard. Harris Farm is not that. It's wholesale retail with rustic aesthetics. Your money is worth more than subsidizing Harris Farm's premium branding illusion. Same fruit, double the price. That's not premium, that's exploitation. Have you been shopping at Harris Farm thinking you're getting better quality? Which fruit category shocked you most? Check those country of origin labels next time. Share this with anyone who shops at Harris Farm. Subscribe for more videos exposing what Australian supermarkets